Navajo.
Hi, and welcome to Once Upon a Nightmare. I'm your host, Amy Medcalf.
And I'm your other host, Ashley Dory, and welcome to today's nightmare.
So tonight we will be discussing skinwalkers. That's pretty much it. I usually go on a little tangent, but not tonight. So sit back,
grab your snacks,
and let's get to it.
Okay. I'm just going to start off by saying there are some words because, okay, I'm going to read you guys some of the history of where skinwalkers came from and their Navajo words. I will do my best.
And I was like, oh my God, I hope you do this part because I'm going to butcher these so badly.
I Googled how to pronounce them. And I sat here for about 5 minutes doing it.
Me trying to learn French.
Oh, it's not easy, but we are going to go ahead and start off with the Navajo legend of skinwalkers tonight. So what is a skinwalker? As the Navajo English Dictionary explains, the skinwalker has been translated from the Navajo Yi Nadalushii. This literally means by means of it, it goes on all fours. The skinwalker is merely one of many varieties called again, I am sorry if I'm mispronouncing these words, Anti-Genii. The Pueblo people, Apache, and Hopi also have their own legends involving the skinwalker. Some traditions believe that skinwalkers are born of benevolent medicine man who abuses indigenous magic for evil. The medicine man is then given mythical powers of evil that vary from tradition to tradition, but the power all traditions mention is the ability to turn into or possess an animal or person. Other traditions believe a man, woman, or child can become a skinwalker should they commit any kind of deep-seated taboo. The Navajo believe skinwalkers were once benevolent medicine men who achieved the highest level of priesthood, but chose to use the power to inflict pain. The skinwalkers are described as being mostly animalistic physically, even when they are in their human form. They're reportedly near impossible to kill except with a bullet or a knife dipped in white ash. Little more is known about the purported being, as the Navajo are staunchly reluctant to discuss it with outsiders, and often even amongst each other. Traditional belief pretends that speaking about the malevolent beings is not only bad luck, but makes their appearance all the more likely. So the more you say their name, the more the chance you have of seeing them.
Yay.
Native American writer and historian Adrienne Keene explained how J.K. Rowling's use of similar entities in her Harry Potter series affected Indigenous people who believed in the skinwalker. What happens when Rowling pulls this in is we as Native people are now open to a barrage of questions about these beliefs and traditions, said Keene. But these are not things that need or should be discussed by outsiders. So,
well, now we know why I never heard about them until TikTok. See, because like you have Native relatives, so that's why you grew up with it.
Yep.
Joshua, my boyfriend Josh, he's known about them for however long, but I don't know why he knows them, but I didn't find out about these until TikTok, and I'm sitting there like looking at videos, and I'm like, the fuck is this shit?
There's actually, have you ever watched, well, you watch Markiplier, right?
Oh yeah.
So he plays a game. Oh shit, what's it called? Oh, I will get it for you after and we'll put it in the description. But he plays a game that's based off of skinwalkers.
Oh, I believe it.
What, it's like a butterfly effect or something like that.
I don't know. It must be very, I have to go back. But yeah, no, like I don't know, like I'm trying to think because like I don't think I've ever heard of them before. I don't even this year or the end of last year on TikTok because that started becoming a big thing. Because of course I'm on horror talking TikTok.
I'm on Appalachian Talk. So
Yeah, you get a lot of those there too, right?
mm-hmm.
And I was like, at first I was like, what is it? A skinwalker? And I like the second I saw it, I was like, I have to look this up. Like this is crazy. And that's my first one.
I have pictures too for the history of that will be up on our Instagram and stuff afterwards of what a indigenous skinwalker looks like.
And I have a picture too, which I think is in the one article I sent you that I was going to post as well. I don't know if you had that picture as well, the one where they're on all fours.
I don't think I have that one.
Okay, well, I had that one.
Okay.
Well, you're going to send me and I'm going to post it anyways because I do the socials, but yeah.
You know.
But yeah, so like now we know why I never heard about it. I don't have native relatives. I'm not any sort of native. I'm very European white.
I look very European white, but
yeah, exactly. And like, listen, I can wear sunscreen and still be burnt. Like the sun hates me. You at least don't you tan a little bit? A little bit.
I eventually tan. I am quite, you can't tell because of the lighting in here, but I am quite dark.
Yeah.
But I also look like a British peasant from 1800s in the wintertime because I go so pale that, you know, I'm on both ends of the spectrum. I've got brown hair, which has obviously been abused by me many times. But I've got the blue eyes. Unfortunately, you know, I didn't get the brown eyes, the beautiful, gorgeous golden brown eyes that most natives have. I've got the cheekbones. I don't have the beautiful olive skin. Nothing like that.
Yeah. See, my hair is dark only because as I aged, it got darker, but I'm naturally I'm supposed to be blonde. But yeah, like
But I grew up with a family who firmly believed in, you know, the Native American ancestry, who I was taught it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
My family is Mohawk. I myself am only 1.1%, but I will hold on to that with pride while I still can.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've heard this, the legends of skinwalkers, and you know, you're not supposed to whistle at night and all these other little things and little quirks and little stories that come with, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which no, thank you. I'll like listen to these rules because I don't ever want to run into anyone.
The idea of this thing, this person, not even a person anymore, this being,
yeah,
that's able to mimic,
and like not only just like verbally but physically as well.
Oh yeah.
Like I saw a video on TikTok where they were pretty sure their dog, like, because their dog went outside and then all of a sudden, like, their dog's inside, but it opened the door, looked, when it saw the person, it just slammed the door again. Like, what kind of dog can do that? So, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I hope they can't, like, imitate my little chihuahuas, because that would, that'd be scary. I guess they would be able to, like, the smaller.
Anything. They can imitate anything. You could be out in the woods, and if you're ever out in the woods and you hear a baby crying, just ignore it. Don't go towards it. Just
turn around and go home.
Against all better judgment for us white people. Let's not do white people things, and let's not go towards scary noise in the woods.
Do not investigate.
Turn around and walk away. Turn around and walk away. We are not here.
We're not here to explore. I saw this TikTok last night. I don't know if I sent it to you. I probably did. And it's this white guy, and he's like, so I'm walking by and I see this, like those donation book things that they have.
Yeah.
So he sees one of those, and sitting against it is a Ouija board.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah. And he pans the camera back to himself. He's like, so me being a white person, I'm just gonna go and take this. And I guess this is where the movie starts.
I guess this is where
I'll
the
keep
movie
you
starts.
informed. Goddamn white people, man.
Stop white peopling white people.
You're
Stop
giving
it.
you're giving us a bad name.
I
Other than the other things that you do that give us a bad name, like, come on. Don't make us look stupid at the same time.
Some of us have common sense and we don't run towards things crying in the woods.
No. I am not going into the basement either.
Okay, so my bedroom's in the basement. That's a whole other story. I am 3 years old and I still run and jump on my bed because I'm afraid something's going to grab my ankles.
Me. All right. So on my part, I'm doing Skinwalker Ranch. Now, I think there was like a movie and a TV show
A documentary.
I think there's also is it a TV show documentary, like a docuseries?
Yes.
There's probably more than one thing anyway.
Oh God, there's so much about it.
Yeah, like, to be honest, like, when it comes to stuff like this, there's like a million things. So Skinwalker Ranch, some have called it a supernatural place. Others have deemed it cursed. Terry Sherman got so spooked by the happenings on his new cattle ranch that 18 months after moving his family of 4 to the property, now known by many as Skinwalker Ranch, it did have another name, which I think I'll get to eventually, in northeastern Utah. He sold the 512-acre parcel away. So 18 months after getting this place, he sold it. Like, that is crazy. He and his wife Gwen shared their chilling experiences with a local reporter on June 1996. They'd seen mysterious crop circles, the Sherman said, and UFOs, and the systematic and repeated mutilation of their cattle in an oddly surgical and bloodless manner. Within 3 months of the story's publication, Las Vegas real estate magnate and UFO enthusiast Robert Bigelow bought the property for $200,000. Under the name of the National Institute for Discovery Science, Bigelow set up round-the-clock surveillance of the ranch, hoping to get to the bottom of the paranormal claims. But while that surveillance yielded a book, Hunt for the Skinwalker, Science Confronts the Unexplained, at a remote ranch in Utah, in which several of the researchers claimed to have seen paranormal activities, they were unable to capture any meaningful physical evidence supporting the Sherman's incredible stories. Now, the ranch was resold to Adamantium Real Estate, which has since applied to trademark the name Skinwalker Ranch. Had the Shermans been lying about what they saw or under the spell of a collective delusion? Without evidence, the stories they told are difficult to believe, but they're hardly unique. I don't know how to say this, but the Uinta Basin of eastern Utah has been such a hotbed of paranormal sightings over the years that some extraterrestrial enthusiasts have deemed it UFO Alley, which we've all heard of. You can't throw a rock in southern Utah without hitting somebody who's been abducted. Local filmmaker Trent Harris told the Deseret News, indeed, according to Hunt for the Skinwalker, odd objects have been spotted overhead since the first European explorers arrived in 1776. Franciscan missionary Sylvester Velez de Escalante wrote about strange fireballs appearing over his campfire in El Rey. And before the Europeans, of course, indigenous peoples occupied the Uinta Basin. Today, Skinwalker Ranch, but the Uinta and, oh my gosh, Ore Indian Reservation of the, Oh my God. I don't want these words. The UTE tribe. I don't know how to say Ute. Would it be Ute? I don't know.
You?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Ute? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Were the Shermans seeing things that nearby Native Americans had taken note of centuries before? So not everything that the Shermans saw on the ranch was skyborne UFOs. They also claimed to see mysterious large animals. Most notably, a wolf 3 times the size of a normal wolf that Terry shot at close range multiple times with a rifle to seemingly no effect. Then on the night of March 12, 1997, after the ranch had been sold off, biochemist Colm Keller, working with Bigelow's National Institute for Discovery Science, claimed to see a large humanoid creature spying on the research team from a tree. Oof.
Ew.
As he detailed in Hunt for the Skinwalker, the creature was approximately 50 yards away, watching the team safely from a tree perch 20 feet off the ground. The large creature that lay motionless, almost casually in the tree, said Keller. The only indication of the beast's presence was the penetrating yellow light of the unblinking eyes as they stared fixedly back into the light. After Keller fired at the creature with a rifle, it disappeared. It was then that I saw it, a single, obvious oval track about 6 inches in diameter, embedded deeply in the patch of snow. It looked unusual, a single large print in the snow with 2 sharp claws protruding from the rear of the mark, going a couple of inches deeper. It almost looked like a bird of prey, maybe a raptor print, but huge, and from the depth of the print, from a very heavy creature. So the Skinwalker and Skinwalker Ranch. This is very long, but it's almost done. Repeated sightings of human-like creatures have led some to invoke the name Skinwalker, a shape-shifting character from Navajo tribal folklore. Among the Navajo Skinwalkers are like werewolves, evil witches who can transform themselves into creatures of their choosing, which, like you said. But Sherman's family ranch was 400 miles north of Navajo Nation. It was next to UT territory. I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Some words are hard. Some words are very hard. It's okay. You're trying your best.
And when the UTs and the Navajo did cross paths, it was an acrimonious relationship, explains historian Sandra Jones, author of Being and Becoming UT. It was not friendly, Jones said. The Navajo were more aggressive people. They took slaves. They had UT slaves, and there was direct conflict with the Navajo, attempted to move up into UT territory at modern-day Pagosa Springs and Durango. While skinwalkers don't feature in UT religion, there are still aspects of the ranch that make sense within the context of UT lore. Other strange sightings have occurred directly next door at Bottle Hollow, a 420-acre man-made reservoir on UT land abutting the ranch, which was filled with fresh water in 1970. By a federal government mandate in 1998, a police officer saw a large light plunge into the reservoir and then reemerge, flying off into the night sky. One night in 2002, 4 young non-Indian, it says non-Indian, but non-native, men standing on the reservoir's shoreline saw a blue-white ball enter the artificial lake. According to the Hunt for the Skinwalker, the glowing ball dove into the water just a few feet from the shore, then emerged seconds later in a new form, a shimmering, maneuverable, belt-shaped shaft of light. After performing a brief writhing aerial dance, the belt of light zipped away at a high rate of speed, hugging the ground before disappearing below the top of Skinwalker Ridge. The appearance of the supernatural around Bottle Hollow makes sense with the context of UT belief. According to Jones, amongst the UTs, springs in certain waterways were reservoirs of negative power. There were evil spirits or evil sprites that would rise up out of the water and drag you in. Whew.
It's like my worst nightmare.
Right? But yeah, that's everything on Skinwalker Ranch. Let's not
Yeah.
do it.
So I've actually watched the documentary on Skinwalker Ranch because I am a spooky bitch that loves all things spooky.
I think I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna watch it. It's on Netflix, is it?
I believe so.
I'll check it.
If not, it might be on Amazon Prime. But so in the Navajo belief, it says that even though that they're near impossible to kill, bullets and a knife dipped in white ash can kill them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why the bullet didn't take it down. So maybe it's not a skinwalker. Maybe Skinwalker Ranch isn't actually skinwalkers.
Or maybe they just weren't using white ash with it though.
But it doesn't say that they have to use the white ash with the bullets. That's just the knife. If you stab it, you can. If you stab it with white ash, it'll kill it. But who wants to get close enough to a skinwalker to stab it with a knife? So most people would kill it with a bullet. Maybe Skinwalker Ranch isn't really skinwalkers, because, like I said, Navajo. But there, I mean,
it could be
there are other, like the Apaches, the Pueblo, and the Hopi are also all have similar stories and legends to the skinwalkers. So I think there's a legend across all indigenous. And I mean, even if you look back into, this goes into like the forests and stuff, you know, like there's things in there running around that we don't know about. There's huge protected amounts of forest, and lots of people go missing.
Yeah, without like a trace, without like footsteps or blood or any evidence whatsoever.
It's like either aliens.
Yeah, which let's like they said in Utah, like there's like you can throw a stone and hit somebody who's been abducted.
I think I've had an alien experience before.
What's that show where like a bunch of people go missing and then like years later they're dropped back on Earth, like they were all abducted?
200 or 100.
Yeah, the 100.
The 100.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's something like that. Because I'm a firm believer that in anything like fantasy or like what is considered by a lot of people not real, like science fiction and all that shit, there's got to be some truth to it. Because how does one person come up with like, oh, vampires, you know, like there's some truth to something. And obviously we don't have the knowledge of everything. And the Pentagon actually released a bunch of information stating that UFOs are actually real.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they have like all their like, and in Area 51, they have like the transcripts of the alien that they have there, or airship or whatever, and whatever is being protected there. But like, we really should look up that information, maybe do a show on that. Yeah. But
I have a personal story involving, now I believe that I saw, it's gonna make me sound absolutely fucking insane, but I believe that I saw as a child a UFO, and my dad was with me. My dad was there, and I brought it up to him later on in life, and I mentioned it to him, and he's like, I don't remember that. But I so vividly remember this happening in my head as a child. Mm-hmm. And I've watched movies like, and I'm trying to like, well, maybe I watched something as a kid and I just associated what happened there with something that happened, whatever. if we do a show on aliens, I got my own personal alien story.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a sighting. I was also driving though, but like I was driving between Orangeville and Kitchener because I was
Mm.
supposed to be moving in with a friend at the time. This was like years back. And my friend was a few of my friends were helping me. And I saw this huge light that moved slow at first and then sped up and then was gone.
Yeah.
And but I was driving, but I was in the country roads, so you never know. Like you don't know what to.
What to believe.
Yeah,
Even on your
exactly.
own eyes, right?
Yeah, like I doubt it was a meteor because it was like a solid ring, like you know, like my ring light, that kind of light, not like fire.
Yeah.
Or anything that a meteor would ever cause, you know? So I don't know, it's weird.
There's some weird things that happen in this world, but I think I don't know. I don't know. Skinwalkers terrify me. The fact that this thing can mimic so well, and it can. I don't even know. Like they're
Like,
just.
could you imagine it copying this cute little face? For those of you who are not watching, I'm holding my little chihuahua. Like this chunky boy. I couldn't imagine.
Mhm. But I got some scary stories of some skinwalkers that we can that'll leave you feeling a little uneasy, a little spooked.
Yeah. So I got my shirt rode up when I was like bending over there on my stomach, guys. I'm sorry. Not trying to show.
So the first story that I have, my stories are kind of short, but the first story that I have is it's titled "On the Res Alone at Night."
That's scary. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Let me get my spooky voice ready. Hold on. My uncle and cousin saw a large deer on the side of the road. When they got closer, it hopped over the fence like a bipedal man. One time, driving back from Gallup, my dad saw an old Navajo woman walking on the side of the road, and when he slowed to offer her a ride, she took off into the plains, quickly with unhuman speed. Ew. Ugh. Once I was a kid, my family was at my aunt's house, which is in a rural, secluded area, where we were toyed with by a few entities. They would make animal noises. When we looked to the direction from which the noises were coming, they would turn a flashlight on and off. The noises would come from all directions in increasingly shorter succession. Usually, when I'm there on the reservation visiting, alone late at night, I'll feel the presence of evil and dread. Panic and paranoia will wash over me, and as sudden as it comes, it's gone.
No, thank you.
So I was always told that if you feel something watching you and you're in the
So probably,
woods, don't turn around. Ignore
yeah.
it. Like, mm. The second story, I'm just going to go ahead with the second one because the
Oh
second
yeah, go.
one is it's real short, but this is something that touches me real deep to my core and terrifies me because in horror movies, when they portray these monsters and they're like climbing up the wall and they like, you know what I mean? And they're like bones crack, like that creepy, unhuman movement is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It moved like a rocking horse.
Oh,
My
I'll never get a.
uncle My uncle is Mexican and Native American. This happened in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. He was driving around with his girlfriend late at night and they saw something that looked like a huge black dog on the side of the road. He slowed down and the dog began crossing. Instead of walking like a normal dog would, it moved like a toy rocking horse. He said it stopped in the middle of the road and stared right at them, and its eyes had a red glow. My uncle is the most badass person I know, and it scared the shit out of him. It gave the thinking about this, like my hair, like I got goosebumps. Oh no.
Ready to cry.
Oh, like I've got my
Like the
hair
fact
standing on end.
in the middle of the road, staring at you in the dark of night. You like,
And the
ugh.
fact that it not only walked, it moved like a toy. It did this thing, this like, no, thank you, sir. No. Big
So
ol' hell no.
I also have a couple of stories. This one is called "They Ran Away on Their Back Legs." Sorry, there was a dog behind me. So this happened about 12 years ago. My family owns a farm in the heart of an Indian reservation. One winter, I was home for Christmas taking care of the farm while my parents were away Christmas shopping. I was home as I was home by myself, way late in the night, and I hear all our cows freaking out. I knew it had to be the wild dogs that are rampant in the area. So I throw on some boots, grab a shotgun, load it up, and head out into the field. This was a perfect scenario for a horror movie. It was cloudy, but there was a full moon, and it was breaking through the clouds just right, light up all to light up all the snow. I ran out into the middle of the field, and just in time, I see two dogs. They were standing up, facing each other and fighting. I think perfect 2-for-1. So I pump a shell into the chamber of Mr. 12 gauge, and then it happened. Two dogs heard the crack. They both stopped, looked over at me, and ran away on their back legs. Immediately, I froze, and every ghost story about skinwalkers and all their native legends I grew up with flew through my mind. Keep in mind, I am a white guy. And up until then, these were all just boogeyman stories the native kids liked to tell to scare us. That night, they became real to me. I got like chills from that. Like,
I need to salt my windows and my doors.
sage. And then we have my next one. It's a little longer. It had a dog's body, but with human hands and feet.
You know.
Yeah, we're gonna listen to it. Sit back.
No, I'm getting ready to run. Okay. Oh.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wants to listen.
Yeah.
I was spending a month with my cousins at my grandma's house. It was August, and my cousins' ages ranged from 10 to 15, and I was the oldest, being 15. I was staying with a 10, 13, and 14-year-old. We stayed up telling scary stories often. But one night, a few weeks in, we decided to make a campfire out back. My grandma's house is in a rural suburb. The neighbors aren't too far when you're driving down the road to her house, but in the backyard, it's thick forest with man-made paths through it. Each house is on a hill, so only part of the basement was actually underground. That isn't important until later, though. So we're towards the east side of her yard, in a smallish patch of open land. You couldn't see the neighboring yards from there, and there was probably 3/4 a mile to each side of us that belonged to my grandma. It was maybe 11 at night, and we were playing truth or dare after telling scary stories, and my 14-year-old cousin dared me and the 13-year-old to go walk through the paths for 10 minutes or so. I said yes right away, as I wasn't easily scared and rather level headed. But my younger cousin was a bit more hesitant. We didn't bring a flashlight because it wasn't pitch dark yet, and we could see enough to not die. We were walking through the paths for about 5 minutes and could barely see the fire through the trees. When we decided to turn, in the middle of the path was a large dog like creature, hunched over with its front hands an inch from the ground. What I remember most was how its eyes were so fucking bright white, and it was humanoid dog shaped with a human like head, but a dog like body, but human hands and feet. It looked right at us, and I know I was paralyzed with fear as it dashed away the opposite way from us, towards a creek that ran through the yard. Eventually, my cousin and I screamed bloody effing murder, and the other cousins and my grandma ran to us. I don't remember much here because I was really disoriented and I couldn't think properly, but I did wake up in bed. So I assumed that I was brought up to the house. All the kids slept in the basement in a big room with sliding glass doors to the outside. As the room was on that side and wasn't underground, my bed was pressed against a big glass window, and I could see my cousins playing outside down below. The house is in Michigan, so it gets slightly chilly, even in the end of August. And there was a slight breeze, so I put on a jacket and ran to join them outside, skipping breakfast, not wanting to miss out on anything fun. When I got down, I could tell they weren't playing, but rather running to get my grandma. Her dogs, both of them, were dead, ripped up. That night, we went to bed early. I woke up at maybe 2 a.m. because I felt something hit my head. My cousins were all sitting on the double bed opposite me on the other side of the room. There was one bunk bed and 2 double beds, the double beds for me and my 14-year-old cousin. They were being quiet and staring at me. The 13-year-old nodded his head towards the window. I froze. They all looked afraid. I turned my head slightly to the side, and I saw a really messed up looking face pressed to the window with gaping eyes looking down at me. I screamed so fucking loud, and it bolted. My grandma called the police after I told her what happened, and they found nothing. I went home after that, and I have never been there during the night again.
Yeah.
Gonna sleep upstairs today?
Half humanoid creatures with dog faces and human hands can just go straight to hell where they belong.
And bright white eyes.
But see, their eyes are always different. Because the first guy said that they were yellow, right? That the guy on Skinwalker Ranch said they were yellow. The first story that I did said that the eyes had a red glow to them.
I guess it's like us, because like if they're humanoid, they used to be human. They would all have different colored eyes at some point.
Because it doesn't
have to be just native shaman and all that, like because you said little boys and whatever. Whoever.
Literally anyone. Anybody can become a skinwalker if you really try hard enough.
Please don't, though. We have enough to worry about.
Listen, if that's what's going to make you happy.
Listen, there are some things that we don't do. Don't listen to Ashley.
We don't become skinwalkers. We don't eat people.
We don't sleep with dead people.
Well,
you shouldn't.
You definitely should. Also, I need to address the shirt debacle. So in last week's episode, you will have noticed that I said that I was going to be wearing the same shirt in the next episode because we were doing 2 episodes in one night. Well, we managed to film 1 episode and then the internet went to shit and we had to postpone till the next night. So this is the next night that we are recording. That is why things are a little different.
Exactly. And again, when I bent over, you probably saw my stomach. I'm wearing shorts and this t-shirt. It's just very hot.
I didn't even notice, girl.
Yeah.
So.
I just felt it go up and I think I saw some skin. I don't know what you saw, but I hope it wasn't a lot.
No.
Chonky, like my chonky dog.
We're all a little chonky, man.
So
don't even feel bad about that.
My shorts are riding up. So,
well,
it's hot.
On that note.
What note?
That's the end of our episode.
Yeah. We're tired. Couldn't tell. Like, honestly, we film like when I'm done work and you're done doing what you need to do a lot of the time and the kids are in bed, because otherwise you'd see children in the corner in the background.
I wouldn't be able to do this. You would not hear me. You
No.
wouldn't. It would be pure chaos.
Yeah, so we do this at night and she's an hour ahead of me, so she has to wait for me.
It is currently 10 after 12 a.m. for me, so
she had a nap.
I also only had 2 hours of sleep. So I've had like 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of sleep today. I can't wait to go to bed. But that actually is going to be the end of our episode today, you guys. Yeah. So if you have any suggestions, please email us at the Once Upon a Nightmare podcast at gmail.com. Everything is going to be linked in the description. We'll have our link tree down there. So if you want to listen to us on Spotify or Buzzsprout or any of the other, check out our Instagram or Facebook or anything that you want to do, go ahead.
And also check out our Facebook page, also our Instagram page, and our TikTok.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember like
all of it,
all the socials that I've set up. It's a lot. So on our Facebook page, there will probably be polls of like what stories we can do, especially when we're stuck and we don't know what to do, because there are going to be days where we're like, I don't know. And then our Instagram, like I said, we post pictures from stories that we've read. Like today, we're going to be posting Skinwalker pictures for you to all see and enjoy. And we said Skinwalker a lot, so let's hope that this doesn't happen to us. And then TikTok, we are going to be we post clips from our episodes, and then sometimes we also post a little bit more, whether it be funny or creepy or whatever.
There might be another cool video coming up on TikTok very soon, though, too.
Yes. We just haven't filmed it yet.
It's been a lot.
Also, I have said in past that we had a PayPal, but by this episode, we are going to have a Patreon instead of PayPal, and you can subscribe to get ad-free content for, I think, just the audio. I don't think we can do that for YouTube, but there are other incentives, just like I think we're going to look into maybe doing a little extra things for higher tiers, as well as some merch. So.
Super cool.
Cool. So look into that, because like I've just been playing around. We just needed to figure out like what we wanted to do for merch in general.
Don't forget to subscribe to us and click that bell so that you get notified every time we post a video on YouTube. It helps us grow and move along and get out there a little bit more.
Exactly. And we will see you next week with a new nightmare. Bye.